Unraveling the mystery of the oldest Native American tribe is not a simple endeavor. One might assume that tribes, like the Navajo or Cherokee, among the most recognized and populous today, hold claim to the title. Yet such an answer would vastly oversimplify a deep and complex history. In the United States alone, approximately 5.5 million people identify as having Native American ancestry, with 574 officially recognized tribes. The Navajo are the largest of these, with about 340,000 members, while the Cherokee follow closely, with around 290,000 members, alongside other major tribes such as the Chippewa Sioux, Choctaw, and Apache. However, the origins of Native Americans extend far beyond the establishment of these tribes, tracing back tens of thousands of years to ancient groups whose descendants would form the complex patchwork of Native cultures across the Americas. Ancient migrations, origins beyond the tribes. The journey to understanding the origins of Native Americans is fraught with both wonder and unanswered questions. Current theories propose that the first human beings entered the Americas at least 17,000 years ago, though some findings suggest an even earlier timeline. These pioneers likely arrived from Asia, crossing what we now call the Bering Strait. During the last ice age, sea levels were dramatically lower, exposing a land bridge known as Beringia, which linked Asia to North America. This theory, backed by substantial archaeological evidence, remains one of the most widely accepted models of early migration. But the Bering Strait theory, while compelling, doesn't tell the whole story. At the time, massive ice sheets covered much of North America, particularly across present-day Canada, effectively blocking further movement south. For centuries, these ice sheets created an enormous physical barrier, confining early populations to the far northern regions. Only as the ice began to retreat did a narrow, ice-free corridor open, allowing people to migrate southward. Some anthropologists believe this single group is the ancestor of all indigenous peoples in North and South America, spreading out over millennia and adapting to the varied environments they encountered. However, an alternative theory proposes that some of these early humans may have reached the Americas by sea, possibly traveling in small boats down the Pacific coastline, following rich marine resources. This coastal migration theory has gained traction, especially with discoveries along the west coast of North America and into South America. These findings suggest that early humans had maritime skills that enabled them to navigate the Pacific's rugged coastline, arriving perhaps even before the Clovis people, a culture once considered the first true Native American civilization. The Clovis and pre-Clovis puzzle. For many years, the discovery of Clovis points, unique spearheads found across North America, led archaeologists to believe that the Clovis culture, dating back about 13,000 years, represented the first Native Americans. The Clovis people were identified by their distinctive stone tools, primarily spear points with fluted edges, designed for hunting large game. This was the prevailing theory until roughly 30 years ago, when a series of discoveries began to challenge this notion, revealing that other human groups may have lived on this continent even earlier. Key archaeological finds include Folsom, New Mexico. Around 10,000 years ago, an extinct species of bison was hunted by early inhabitants, with distinct spear marks found on the bones. This find suggested that highly skilled hunters were living and adapting to changing climates and prey. Bluefish Caves, Yukon. Excavations in the Yukon uncovered animal bones marked by human tools dating back approximately 24,000 years. This find suggests that people may have been living in North America for much longer than previously believed, potentially enduring the harsh climate of the last ice age. Santa Rosa Island, California. Human remains discovered here date to roughly 13,000 years ago, indicating a group with seafaring capabilities, possibly those who traveled the coast by boat rather than by land. Monte Verde, Chile. One of the most famous pre-Clovis sites, Monte Verde dates to about 14,000 years ago and includes evidence of a permanent settlement, complete with plant remains, wooden structures, and tools. Monte Verde's existence suggests that early Americans may have migrated southward much earlier than initially thought. Paisley Caves, Oregon. A 15,000-year-old site yielded fossilized human feces, providing direct evidence of human presence. The age of this find not only challenges the Clovis first model, but also underscores the need to reconsider early American migration routes. Hoyo Negro, Yucatan. In this underwater cave, archaeologists found the skeleton of a young girl dating back about 12,000 years. Named Nia by researchers, her remains represent some of the earliest genetic links to modern Native Americans. Friedkin Site, Texas. Artifacts from a 15,000-year-old settlement here included tools similar in some respects to Clovis technology, but predating it by nearly 2,000 years. The site further challenges the notion of Clovis as the first Native American culture. Each of these sites adds a new layer of complexity to our understanding of early Native American history, indicating that people were not only present on the continent long before the Clovis, but that they were adapting to varied climates and ecosystems in ways that reveal an impressive degree of skill and resilience. The rise and fall of early cultures. As time passed, these ancient groups evolved, adapted, and transformed, giving rise to new cultures and communities that in time coalesce into the tribes we recognize today. However, it's crucial to understand that these early cultures were not the same as the tribes we know now. Over thousands of years, societies shift, merge, and develop new identities, often based on environmental pressures, interactions with neighboring groups, and migrations. The question then, of which is the oldest Native American tribe, is difficult to answer because of the fluid and ever-changing nature of human societies. Even the oldest modern tribes are likely the result of many generations of adaptation, incorporating knowledge, customs, and identities from various ancestral sources. The Hopi, for instance, are often regarded by many Native Americans as one of the oldest tribes. The Hopi village of Arizona, which dates back nearly 1,000 years, is thought to be the oldest continuously inhabited settlement in the United States. However, this impressive longevity only hints at the long journey taken by the Hopi people, whose roots likely trace back to the ancient ancestral Puebloans' language and migration patterns. Linguistic analysis provides another fascinating lens into early migrations and relationships between tribes. For example, the Navajo and Apache speak languages from the Naden family, which is linked to groups who entered North America around 10,000 years ago. These language groups suggest connections to ancient ancestors who migrated southward, eventually settling in the Southwest. The Algonquian language family, meanwhile, is spoken by tribes spread across a vast swath of North America, from the Atlantic coast to the Great Lakes. This distribution hints at a shared ancestry among tribes such as the Ojibwe, Chippewa, Potawatomi, and Micanuk. Language can thus serve as a living record of ancient migration patterns, providing valuable insights into the relationships among various Native American tribes and their early movements across the continent. Oral histories and the importance of legends. Adding to the complexity of tracing Native American origins is the fact that many histories were preserved orally. These oral traditions are rich, vivid, and deeply respected, but they can be difficult to interpret in a linear, chronological way. For instance, the Cherokee have stories that describe a migration involving the crossing of a great river, which some scholars believe may refer to the Mississippi. However, such stories are layered with symbolic meaning and often reflect spiritual beliefs, making them challenging to use as direct historical records. Nevertheless, these legends are integral to Native American identities. For instance, the Cherokee describe themselves as a people who have existed since time immemorial, which, while not scientifically measurable, speaks to a deep sense of continuity and connection to the land. For the Hopi, legends of their origins involve not only migrations, but also moral and spiritual teachings, guiding them on how to live harmoniously with nature and each other. These stories emphasize the cultural and ethical frameworks that shaped these communities over countless generations. The challenge of modern archaeology and respect for cultural beliefs. As modern archaeology continues to unearth more artifacts, the understanding of Native American history grows ever more nuanced. However, these scientific advancements come with ethical considerations. Many Native American tribes view archaeological excavations with skepticism, as they sometimes feel these efforts disregard their cultural beliefs or disturb sacred sites. Collaboration with Native communities has become increasingly prioritized as researchers recognize the importance of involving these communities in decisions about excavation, interpretation, and the handling of ancestral remains. Some Native Americans also feel that the scientific focus on proving ancient dates or migration paths can overshadow the cultural significance of their own oral histories and traditions. For example, the Clovis first theory was long accepted by scholars, yet indigenous groups held that their ancestry went back far earlier than 13,000 years, a belief that science is only now beginning to validate evolving questions. And the importance of perspective, in the end attempting to determine the oldest Native American tribe, is a question that may not have a definitive answer. Human history is complex, and the connections between past and present are shaped by countless variables. Perhaps a more meaningful question is how we can continue to make discoveries while respecting the heritage and perspectives of the Native American people who live today. These communities are the keepers of ancient knowledge, culture, and identity elements that are no less valuable than archaeological data. Each discovery reshapes our understanding, but it also emphasizes the need for a balanced perspective. As researchers and Native communities collaborate, there's an opportunity to blend scientific inquiry with cultural respect, ensuring that new findings enrich our shared understanding rather than diminish the rich legacy of America's first inhabitants.